What's going on, guys and girls? It's Ghost Robo, and we now know a ton about the Nintendo Switch. Heck, I've played a ton of the Nintendo Switch, so it's high time for my current top 10 games on Nintendo Switch. Now, to be eligible for this list, these games must be actual concrete titles. They must have titles. So it's stuff that was announced, stuff that was shown, and stuff that's an actual game. Not things that are theoretical games, not things that are hopeful games, not things that are rumored games, but actual games. So, starting this list off at number 10 is Rime. Rime will be coming out later this year, around May, and it is good to see a big high-profile indie game hitting Switch. In fact, I think Nintendo would do well to court indie developers and make the Switch the new ideal home for indie games. The fact that they can be taken on the go or played at home seems to be an ideal fit, and reminds me of crossplay on PS4 and Vita, except done better, because here it would be everything. Now, Rime is from Tequila Works, the people who brought us Deadlight, and this game has been through some trouble over the years, but it looks like it's back on course. IGN got to play the opening bits, and it looks pretty good, so I'm super excited to see sort of the first big indie new release come out day and date on Nintendo Switch. At number 9, we have Super Bomberman R. Now, I don't know a ton about this game, but it does look really good. People playing it at the Switch event were having a lot of fun, and it is a tried and true multiplayer gem. This one has a mega story mode, I think 50 levels, something like that, cool looking boss battles, and an actual plot. So we'll see how that all factors in, but at least it rounds out the content. Most importantly, this is the ideal kind of game for tabletop mode with a bunch of Joy-Cons, and it makes me think about how cool it would be to have Towerfall on the Switch. Those kind of games that I love to huddle up around the TV with my friends and family, I want a bunch of those on the Switch, and it seems like Super Bomberman R is the first of many to come. Number 8 is Xenoblade II. Now, we don't know a ton about this, but it is concrete, and in fact, Nintendo is saying it's coming in 2017. Not sure how confident I am in that release window, but the art style looks awesome, and we'll take a brand new big Xenoblade. This is not a port, but instead a whole new game, which is really cool and shows a lot of support from the people over at Monolith Soft, and we want to encourage that kind of support whenever we can. Everyone loves Xenoblade. Xenoblade Chronicles was well received, and I think this new one will be a big hit for the Switch, especially if it comes out in the first year. That caliber of a big, bold, beautiful RPG would do wonders for the system later this fall. At number 7, we have 1-2 Switch, sort of the Wii Sports, if you will, of the Switch era, and it's actually really fun. It's definitely just a minigame collection. It's definitely a family-friendly party-type game, but it has cool usages of the Switch's many features. My favorite being that Haptic HD Rumble. I played one minigame where you held a box of marbles inside the Joy-Con controller and had to tilt it back and forth, and you could legitimately feel individual marbles rolling back and forth and had to guess how many there were. Same with the cow milking. As weird as utter squeezing seems to be for a 2017 video game, it's kind of cool. And the quick draw firing, as well as others, seem to be a fun way to pull out the Switch, share it with friends and family, and really get things going from a more mainstream standpoint. Number 6 is ARMS. I actually really like ARMS, and I've been hearing a lot of positive feedback from many different sources. Now, I think ARMS needs more content, and hopefully they show more of that off before the game releases this spring. It's not coming at launch, but it will be a nice new IP, new title for the Switch to receive whenever it does release. I like the character design, and I like the concept. This sort of interesting boxing fighting game mixed with using the motion controls creates kind of a very chaotic, but also very cool one-on-one fighting duel. It's said that you can use regular controls as well as motion, so you don't have to be flinging and flailing around if you don't want to be, but I hope they really focus in on delivering an epic experience with these characters. It reminds me and many others of Overwatch, and I think if they go deep into the lore of this world, of these characters, maybe even offer us a single-player mode, or at least different multiplayer modes, it could be a hidden gem right around the Switch launch window. And number 5 is the biggest surprise on this list for me, and that's Snipper Clips. I had no idea what this was going in. I didn't even know what it was after they announced it. But once I played it, I was sold. This is a co-op focused game that really utilizes the Switch tablet mode, where you've got the Joy-Cons attached and you're working together to solve a plethora of challenges. Your two little pieces of paper or fabric, and you can cut each other down to different sizes, as well as utilize the new shapes to solve puzzles. So in one instance, I had to form a cup to carry a ball to the basket. In another, I had to cut my partner into a very sharp point to pop balloons. But all in all, it's mini challenges that are co-op driven and really fun. They utilize the Switch in a lot of cool ways, and I am excited to see what all they have in store with the full package. Now, number 4 is Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Now, it hurts my heart to hear that there aren't going to be any new tracks in the game. There's the new battle mode and battle mode tracks, but no race tracks included, and I think that's a huge mistake. But I will say that Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is probably the best game to show off the many different form factors of the Switch. It can be played on screen, it can be played handheld, it can be played tabletop for 1, it can be played tabletop for 2, and split screen was super fun racing with my girlfriend in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Now, the game looks absolutely fantastic. It has all the DLC, some new characters like Baby Bowser and King Boo and the Inklings, plus the battle mode is a great addition. I think that is going to be where a lot of my time is spent, because it's an excellent example and will hopefully provide a lot of fun via Nintendo's new online service. That will be the true test, how well that thing ends up performing. We don't know a whole lot about it, but Mario Kart 8 Deluxe on April 28th will definitely test it. I think it's also the ideal game to take on the go and play split screen multiplayer with your friends, with your family, wherever you may be, planes, trains, or automobiles. This is how the Switch is meant to be used, and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe definitely takes advantage of it. Number 3 is Splatoon 2. I freaking loved Splatoon 1, so I'm so glad to see investment in this IP. I don't know how much of a sequel Splatoon 2 actually is. Based on what we've seen, it's new maps, new weapons, new gear. I sure hope there is a new campaign, because that was one of my favorite aspects of Splatoon 1. That final boss battle is memorable, to say the least, and I think it really rounds out the content package. They haven't spoken much on that, but I hope we get new modes, a lot of new weapons, a lot of new maps, maybe even some new styles of gameplay, and definitely a new hub world with a new single player. I think that's critical to sell this as a sequel. Nonetheless, it is an epic game. It works so well with the Pro Controller. It looks so cool playing it with the handheld mode, and you can play split screen with your friends locally, which is a great addition, especially if you're not somewhere with Wi-Fi or you eventually don't want to buy into Nintendo's paid service. But Splatoon is a really fun, colorful, and engaging IP that Nintendo is wise to really nurture, and I'm glad they're doing such early in the Switch life cycle, coming out sometime this summer. The top 2 were really hard to order. You know what 2 games they are, and I struggled seeing where I should place them. Number 2 is Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Some of you are probably throwing your hands in the air, but this is basically a 1A and 1B. Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild is phenomenal. I love what I've seen thus far, I love what I've played, and I cannot wait to get my hands on it at launch. I'm saving the other for number 1 for some obvious reasons, mostly because it's off in the future, it's more unknown, and to me that's pretty exciting. But it's also super freaking awesome that we get a big, bold, the biggest, boldest Zelda we've ever seen on launch day for the Switch. The game looks great, it controls great. I love the loot aspect of finding new weapons and armor to upgrade your Link. I love the go anywhere shrines that you can enter and may not be able to solve right away. I love the big, beautiful world and the elements that affect you, whether it be sound or temperature, and I just love the fact that there's now voice acting in what seems to be a really, really awesome storyline. If you paid attention to the trailer, you saw a bunch of characters and new kinds of characters as well. I'm super excited to go explore the vast world of Hyrule and find where all these creatures are from and what they're all about. That will be the game that owns me and every new Switch owner come March 3rd. Well deserved. It could be number 1 easily, but Zelda Breath of the Wild is number 2. And that brings us to the top. Number 1, of course, is Super Mario Odyssey. How could it not be? This game takes me back to the roots of why I love Nintendo. Super Mario Brothers, Super Mario World, Super Mario 64, these games are the tentpoles of my Nintendo nostalgia, and this one seems to be taking things to a whole new level. I love the fact that Mario is trapezing around an entire globe of levels, and Miyamoto himself assured us that this is back in the vein of 64 and Sunshine, a core Mario game, a sandbox Mario game. so pumped to be collecting stars in New Donk City, in that creepy forest, and in that wacko food world. I think this game is going to be incredible. Plus, I love the fact that there are notable visual improvements from Wii U to Switch in the Super Mario Odyssey trailer. It is doing things and looking ways that the system before it could not have possibly produced, and I love that. I really hope that they go all the way with this game. I like the fact that you can now throw your hat. I think the idea of hats being this cool new power-up system, something we've seen before but would be great to be focused on, is going to be awesome. I love that Bowser is really aggressive this time and taking Peach for a wedding. I like the creatures and the bosses. It looks to be just an out-of-this-world experience. Cannot wait to see more at E3. I wish it was a launch title. Me being more of a Mario guy than any other Nintendo IP, I would have loved to see that. But think about how cool this is. We get a brand new 3D core Mario game in the first year of Switch. In fact, the first 9 months of Switch, probably the first 8. So that is something remarkable. Zelda Breath of the Wild, Splatoon 2, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Xenoblade 2, and Super Mario Odyssey. This is shaping up to be a stellar year for Switch from the first party side of things. If they can just get the third parties on board, and I think they will, we are in for a good, fun, long ride. That is my top 10 for Switch. Let me know your top games for Switch in the comments down below. If you enjoyed the video, give it a big thumbs up. If you want more Switch content, go check out my Switch dedicated channel, Switch Force. I'll put a link in the description below. We cover everything in depth and in detail there, and we'll be focusing heavily on all the games and all the goodies that the Switch has to offer as soon as we're able. But in the meantime, everyone, thanks so much for watching. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Drink some hot chocolate. And until next time, I love you. And we'll see you all later.